I think it's very difficult to isolate Russia, so we're a big country.
Has our Foreign Affairs Minister, Minister Johnson Smith, or any other diplomats based in Kingston have contacted you to voice protest at Russia's actions?
I know that the Jamaican Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, they issued a press release about their position to the...
But has she made any personal contact with you?
Not yet, but we meet regularly at different functions.
And has the Jamaican government made any approach to you in regards to the students that are currently in Ukraine?
Yes, we spoke on this matter. So, but the situation is so that these students are stuck in Ukraine, not in Russia. And when I was approached by my colleagues from the Jamaican Foreign Ministry, it was some time ago, they said, understand that you are ambassador of Russia, not ambassador of the Ukraine.
Okay.
Yes.
But are you concerned that you may increasingly become an isolating figure in Kingston? So are you expecting fewer invitations to the cocktail circuit for future occasions?
Well, I think it's very difficult to isolate Russia, so we're a big country. So, well, if you see that our leaders meet every day with the other world leaders, and, well, yes, the situation is tense, of course. I think that both parties want to find a solution to this situation. Probably you have heard already in the morning there were some indications from the Ukrainian government that they're want to start negotiations with Russia. And Russia replied in a positive way today that Russia is also ready to negotiate with the Ukrainians. As the location for negotiations was proposed Minsk, the capital of Belarus, and the Ukrainian side, after thinking for a while, said no, Minsk does not suit. We will be ready to meet in Warsaw, in Poland. But after some time, so they said not today, but tomorrow. It was the latest development of the situation which I followed.
We also know that in the past, President Putin has indicated that civilian targets would not be selected in Ukraine. But we see, based on videos, that there have been attacks in apartments and other districts in major cities. Is this a backtrack on Russia's stated position of not targeting civilian centers?
From the very beginning of the operation, Russia announced that it will hit only the objects of military infrastructure. So the aim of the operation is just to destroy the military objects. According to what you are saying, I cannot say anything in particular, but I also watching the television, like you from here in Kingston, and what I see that the Ukrainian armed forces, they, especially the units of these ultra-nationalists, so they are deploying the armaments now in the cities of the Ukraine, including Kiev, and it's a very dangerous development of the situation. Try to use the civilian population as a shield against the Russian troops. It could lead to unpredictable circumstances.
So you're suggesting that any existing damage done to cities are as a result of Russian troops targeting military infrastructure that are located in cities?
I have not heard anything about the civilian casualties among the Ukrainians.
Well, we see where civilian casualties outnumber those persons in the Ukrainian military. So is it the case where, once again, are civilians then just the collateral damage of an unnecessary conflict?
Well, it's difficult for me to comment, so I'm not a military.
In the past, sanctions on the billionaire, for example, Oleg Deripaska, has led to a fallout in bauxite production, or especially for UC Rusal. Do you see any potential for fallout for Russian investments in UC Rusal due to the current sanctions being imposed by the West?
First of all, we cannot assess for the moment the consequences of the latest Western sanctions, but what I can say that Russia is aimed at continuing its the work of the Rusal in the island. You know that Rusal is the biggest bauxite and alumina company, which possesses two alumina plants in Jamaica, Everton and Kirkwine. And now we are negotiating with the Jamaican authorities about to settle some issue, to settle the conditions for the further presence of Rusal in Jamaica. But this is probably our most successful, our flagship project of the bilateral economic cooperation in Jamaica. The Rusal already were under sanctions in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And then we negotiated with the Jamaican authorities, and in the end, they succeeded to lift the sanctions from the Windalco. It's the company of Rusal, which is represented here in Jamaica. So we successfully solved this problem.
Could you expound on what that solution was?
It was as well. I don't know the details, but as far as I know, there were negotiations between the Jamaican authorities and the United States, which imposed sanctions on the Rusal, so not to include the Windalco, to exclude Windalco from the sanctions. So the Windalco can continue its activities in Jamaica.
Are there any investments that are currently being in the pipeline for Jamaica at the moment from Russia?
It's the Rusal. It's the Rusal. So as far as I know, the Rusal is now negotiating with the Jamaica's authority about quite a considerable amount of the new investments in the bauxite and alumina industry, in the mining industry in Jamaica.
So there are new additional investments.
New additional investments, yes.
They are now being considered.
Because Rusal or Windalco, it's a major investor in the Jamaican economy, in the mining industry, and it's also one of the biggest employer in the island. So as far as I know, Rusal has 1,200 employees, direct employees, and about 600 so-called third-party contract employees. So it's about 2,000 people who are working in the structure of the Rusal. And besides that, Rusal also has several corporate social responsibility programs in Jamaica in such fields as the education, sports, community development, infrastructure development, agriculture, and so on. Rusal provides special scholarship for the Jamaican students, the engineering scholarships, to study in Russia. We all hope for the de-escalation of the situation and for a peaceful solution. So I think that both sides are interested in that. And regarding the relations with Jamaica, so I have been staying here for 7 months, and I have arrived here in a difficult period. I mean, these COVID restrictions, when there are very few in-person meetings, very few public events or diplomatic functions. But I have arrived here with a very strong desire to make as much as possible for the development of our bilateral relations with Jamaica, because we consider Jamaica as a very as our reliable and promising partner in the Caribbean.